Goodwin. Oh, hello. Welcome to Meridian, Deep Space Nine, 9 at 9ish. This is Jeff Mader coming at you, season 3, episode 8. Deal with it. That's not the name of the episode, but that's just me. That's more of a direction. Welcome. We got a great episode to talk about. Not really. Actually, not a favorite. Actually, I'm going to do something a little unconventional once I introduce everybody. But let's bring everybody in, and then I can get to what I want to get to. First, my brother Dave. Let's bring him on in. Dave Bader.
Hey there. Hey,
how are you?
Hey. How's it going? I'm okay. I watched Meridian, so I could be better.
Well, you could have watched a better episode. We move over to the tag team couple. We bring them in on third. Ashley, Kevin, Millard. How are you?
Excellent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Jaemeel. We're gonna bring Jaemeel in now. He's the hot shot.
Quack, Mr. Ducksworth.
Quack attack.
Quack,
Yeah, he's coming in with the flying V. The V is for vicious hot takes. Okay, so Dave, this is what I want to do. I didn't prepare you for this. I should have.
Okay,
but I want to bring up the ratings now because
you
I want to give my
now?
ratings. Yes, this is the unconventional, but I want to do the ratings right away because this episode deserves it.
We might talk ourselves into a good rating by the end of this. We don't know.
We might change. Worst. All right. I you guys can try to talk me up in my score because you're not going to be happy probably.
Okay,
if you like this episode.
Let me pull it up here and we can start off here if you want.
And after scores.
Okay,
before and after.
And after. All right, all right, 2.5. That is my score for this episode. The only thing I like is Quark and the Kira and Odo stuff. Everything else, trash.
I'm gonna go about a 4.9.
I would go 4. I would give 4. Jeffrey Combs is awesome, and so is everyone's reaction to how stupid Dax is acting in this episode.
Yes.
It gets a 1 from me.
Okay, this is.
I will explain why.
I was thinking a 0.5. This episode is the worst.
Okay, actually, Dave, I'm changing my score. I'm down to a 1. I was trying to start it off. I thought you guys might have liked it more, but this episode is terrible.
Wait, but remember when we gave a low ratings to original series episode and Dad didn't like it? What if he finds out about
this episode deserves it. This is the worst episode. Let's bring back. We don't need the ratings anymore. We're at a 2.3 average.
I was trying to figure out what was going on with the IMDb, but I'll do that right now.
I can tell you what it is. IMDb is 5.7, so that's pretty bad, actually.
Pretty generous considering what we're giving it, which is a 2.3 amongst the 5 of us. This is easily bottom 10 episode for us right now.
It's my bottom episode.
It might be the lowest.
The only thing that I think that was positive that came out of this episode was the fact that the guy who plays Goodwood in Lost, who's Jadzia's lover in this episode, I forget his name.
Brett Cullen.
I think he got the job on Lost because of his performance in this episode, because he plays almost the same character, like the same, but in Lost there's a looky-loo, like there's a twist. In this, no, he's just creepy, like the way he introduces himself to Jadzia, the way he is like taking the pulp out of the fruit. He's like, ooh, see, good. And the fact that Jadzia thinks this is attractive, I find odd. I'm not a woman, Ashley, maybe you can speak to this, but who wrote this and why? Is this how women act?
No, this entire Jadzia storyline is so out of character for Jadzia that it's laughable. If I wasn't crying watching the episode because I was subjecting myself to this episode for 42 minutes.
Jeff, did he get the role as Thomas Wayne, though, in the movie Joker because of his work on Lost?
Maybe.
Fated to die.
So it's all connected. It's all a chain. There was all a series of stepping stones, just like Joker coming down those steps. These were steps up where he went from Deep Space Nine to Lost to the movie Joker, which was one of the biggest movies of 2019, right? So
I forgot he was in that movie. For me, anytime I see this actor, I will always think of Lost because of it's really well done. It's well written.
His character in Lost, I had forgotten he was in that, but yes, he's very good in Lost.
Yeah, and in this episode, he has a lot of the same. He's also reminding me a lot of Riker. And the fact that this is directed by Jonathan Frakes, it's like he's trying to pull off the Riker smoothness, and like Jonathan Frakes, like, yeah, just like, you know, take the thing out of the fruit and give it to her, and then that'll be like just everything about it is just like, cringe.
This is now our lowest rated episode ever.
The only good part of this episode is when they bust Quark the first time, and Odo is just sitting there going, huh?
I'll stop lying when you stop lying.
Okay, like in terms of and just for the record, the only 2 episodes. Well, this is the worst. The next closest in terms of poor rating are the season 2 episode Second Sight, which was also a Dax episode, was it not?
Mm-hmm. I think so. And Vortex one,
and Vortex.
Yes, Odo gets crippled in the cave episode. Yes,
Odo gets hit with a rock and he gets knocked out. Yes, I forgot about that.
This once again though comes back to the fact that the writers have no idea what they're doing with Jadzia and her character, and it's just this is the prime example episode that we have watched so far that proves it. And it's not there's so much to delve into. Like, you have a plethora of opportunities with the fact that she is, 300 years old or whatever she is. There's so much you can go into. But for whatever reason, they want to shoehorn her into a romance with a guy she just met that on a planet that disappears, that will reappear 60 years later. And she's just like, yeah, that'll be cool. Like, she has no idea what that life's going to be like. She has no idea what it's going to be like. Like, he says to her, it's like, you have no idea. You can't even imagine. And she's like, well, all right, I'll come with you. Like, what?
This is the greatest con ever played on Jadzia Dax, because, he says, oh, I'll come with you. But then he's like, no, I can't leave my people because there's only 30 of us. And I guess they have to replenish the species. By the way, was this like a warp capable species was this not a violation of the Prime Directive?
Oh, definitely. Well, no, actually they're settlers. So
where do they come from? We don't know anything about these people. Like,
they're more like
they're like crash landed on that planet.
Okay.
So
they're not indigenous to that.
They're not indigenous. So it's not what they know about.
I guess they knew hail, right? Because once they hailed them from the surface once they
right.
And
they talked
you
to
could
them.
be a pre-warp society that is able to hail.
True. I don't know. It just felt like, hey, we just met you, we're friends and whatever.
Even if it's pre-warp, if they're able to hail starships, then they know about starships and space travel and all that stuff. So it's still not against the Prime Directive, because they're
fine. No court-martial.
No, court-martial for this entire episode.
Yeah, the writers deserve the court-martial. Bring them in.
Who wrote this? Hillary
design them too.
Like,
Hillary J. Bader.
Jonathan Franks to do a little time for this one.
This is one of those episodes that you can tell was written and made in the 90s and does not hold up anymore today. Watching this episode as a female watcher, it is a terrible episode. Both storylines. You've got Jadzia, who falls in love with a guy within 24 hours and then is willing to leave her friends, her family, her job, everything behind to just run off.
And her existence.
Corporeal existence.
Everything.
And her existence, yes.
And then you've got the B storyline where they're running around a bunch of times trying to turn Kira into the 24th century version of a sex doll against her will. Like, the whole writing it's awful. It's some of the worst writing for female characters ever.
Yeah. And it has a punchline of a shot of, imagine it's Nana Visitor's body up to a Quark head.
Yes.
How is that better? How is that better? What if he's
right? And he's doing all this stuff and then just gets away with it at the end.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
we need to talk about this storyline too, because it is the part of the episode I actually think is okay, although it is creepy and there's a lot of questionable things in it. But I think it raises some interesting thoughts about what's this universe like in which you can create a holographic program of anybody. What are the ethics? What are the laws of the day? I'm interested in sort of how that is. It seems like what Quark's doing is not illegal, but definitely not ethical.
All I can think of is just creepy dudes just hanging around, just like recording women like at the bar, just like just getting the hollow imager up.
And then being
like,
yeah.
the club.
I need a hollow suite.
Yeah.
But
And then it's like Black Mirror.
It has to be illegal because Odo said, "Do you want me to arrest him or do you want to do it?"
But I thought it was illegal because he hacked into her personnel file, not because he
Right. It wasn't illegal to scan her with she said, if I catch you with that again, I'll shove it up your ass. But it wasn't like, oh, I caught you with it, now I'm going to arrest you. It was more like an invasion of privacy, not really against the law.
I feel like it's unethical, not a nice thing to do, but it's not necessarily against the law. I don't think. Maybe it should be.
Which is also a horrible thing for, it should be against the law.
Jordan LaForge would also be serving 2 life sentences for that, though.
No, Reginald Barkley.
Yeah, Jordan LaForge and Reginald Barkley subscribe to this club.
I did think in this episode, though, guys.
LaForge have sex with her. I think he just had a weird.
He totally had sex with her.
TNG Nights.
Yeah.
Yes, TNG Nights.
TNG Nights, like Baywatch Nights.
Yes. Give me that saxophone intro.
Maybe werewolves too. The 2 lowest episodes, by the way, are 2 of our. This is now the lowest, but the next lowest is that Second Sight, which was also penned or the teleplay by Mark Gerard O'Connell. So he touched both. So he is now one of the worst Star Trek writers.
Please tell me that he's not working anymore.
I'm gonna find out what happened to Mark Gerard O'Connell. The Red.
Watch it. He wrote
the cast
amazing,
rose up against him, and
he wrote the storyline for the TNG episode Timescape, which was the one where, the one where Picard pokes the happy face into the cloud, and it's like
yeah.
So that's how he got involved. But then he wrote Second Sight, which we don't like. Then he wrote an episode called For the Cause, which is the
Jake episode.
That's the one where that's the one where Eddington
Jake and Bashir.
That's the
it's Eddington.
That's the Eddington flipping episode when he flips to Maquis, and then Who Mourns for Morn. He did keep working after this, but
he did keep working, unfortunately.
Which I think is a success story.
The first one you said, Dave, I think was probably an ensemble writer room episode because it's a big episode of a character flipping. They're not going to let just one guy write that whole thing,
right? And it says teleplay by Ronald D. Moore. So he wrote in this case he wrote the story, not the teleplay. And in the 2 other episodes we hated, including this one, it was the other way around where he wrote the teleplay part of it.
Okay, yeah. I don't know. I also think Jonathan Frakes' direction in this episode is not good and very dated, as Ashley said. It just does not hold up. It also does not have Goodwin. Exactly what you said before, Jaemeel, is to me a con artist. That's exactly why he was good in Lost, that he was performing a con on was it Michelle Rodriguez's character. So he's you don't trust him. Do you trust this guy? I wouldn't trust this guy to sell me a pair of socks.
He's immediately way too intense, way too aggressive. Immediately.
He's like a cult. He's a cult member. That's what he plays with.
Yeah.
That's what Goodwin was. That's what the Goodwin all the members of the others are cult members. Right. So it's he fit in well.
Is this guy from a real life cult? This guy would be perfect.
He's the president of Scientology. I don't.
Yeah, right.
I don't know.
Maybe,
I don't think so. I don't know. I should look up Brett Cullen and what he's all about. He was also in the movie Ghost Rider.
Yes, he was also in Falcon's Nest, Falcon Crest. Sorry, and
he was in The Dark Knight Rises,
Under the Dome.
Terrible.
Right. He works with Nolan a bit. He likes to work with Nolan, or
he's not a bad actor. Like famously, that I don't know how famous it is, but the role he plays, Thomas Wayne, in what's that movie, Joker, was going to go to Alec Baldwin,
right?
And Alec Baldwin was cast, and then he said, "This role is nothing special. Anybody could be this." And so he gave it up, and then it went to Brett Cullen. He's the anybody. He's anybody.
He's the anybody. He's, you know what? And like that's like, I feel like Jonathan Frakes would have played this role if he wasn't a Starfleet character. Like this would have been his role, you know. So it's like, Frakes can't do it. We got to get anybody. And in steps Brett Cullen.
He's a longtime friend of Dennis Quaid. They both attended the University of Houston, where they were drama students.
He was in he was in Pepper Dennis with what's his name? Pepper Dennis was a short-lived TV show. It was actually pretty good. It was with Rebecca Romaine. Back when she was Rebecca Romaine. Ryder Strong was in it too. Pepper Dennis.
Here's a fun fact about Brett Cullen. He co-owns a production company called The Yellow Rose with the singer Meatloaf.
Really?
Another fun fact, I bet you he also hates this episode.
Yeah.
He's like,
he probably, you know what he probably says to, himself? Life is a lemon and I want my money back.
Just to plug it for his buddy Meatloaf.
Well plug. I don't even know where to go on this episode because it's so bad. There's nothing that I like really in the episode. It's why it gets a 1. I'm almost at the 0.5 with Kevin. Like, you guys are not talking up why this episode is good in any way other than the fact that
look, Jeffrey Combs was in it and he was awesome.
Jeffrey Combs
is
his
right.
Good. Fine. His character is terrible.
His character is terrible, and like no.
I gave it the 1 for me is for Renee Auberjonois. That's it. His acting in this was superb. Kira's acting in this was also superb. She just it was just a terrible, just awful story.
It's a terrible story.
It's a terrible story. It really is.
Doesn't he look like the comedian, the one who used to expose himself to
Louis
C.K.?
He looks like Louis C.K.
Yeah. It's kind of ironic.
Tattoos.
Louis C.K. wanted holodeck programs.
If Louis C.K. and Carrot Top had a baby,
he'd probably want to, go up to the Holosuite too, even though he owns his own. But yeah, this is Jeffrey Combs' first time on Deep Space Nine, right?
I thought he was on it once before, but
has he been here before?
Yeah,
I thought he was, but I could be wrong.
He's Brunt.
Yeah,
he's Brunt.
But I don't think we've had a Brunt episode yet.
I don't think Brunt has been on it yet.
No, so this is probably his first.
Oh, yeah, yes, it is.
Yeah.
So from that standpoint, hey, it stands out there because Jeffrey Combs, I think, is part of Deep Space Nine and this. Show.
Yeah.
But here we are, a good way into season 3, and this is the first time he's showing up. So like we talked about, this third season is almost like it's almost like a reboot of the show in a lot of ways. The show is kind of like bringing in actors and eventually, these characters that are going to be huge, right? Like, I think.
Let me ask you this, okay? They have this Jeffrey Combs guy. They know he's a good actor. They already have the Vorta makeup. They know, eventually he's going to become Weyoun, obviously, right? But why isn't there no Dominion episode? We're getting these we're on a road trip to the Gamma Quadrant. We're on a road trip to Dax's doctor. That's what's going on right now in season 3. And it's because they don't want to get to the Dominion stuff until, I don't know, the end of the season.
Well, the Defiant's going to be next week. So the action intense episode, the big thing is next week. So they're I feel like they're we got to fit another Dax episode in, even though they did one 5 episodes ago. Yeah. I feel like they just had to shove this into the schedule.
Honestly, when you're looking at the scripts and you see something like this, the decision is to not make this and use the budget to, make another bigger explosion or another set. There is no benefit at all to the series for this episode, right?
No, but that's the way TV used to be. I mean, you had to have your 20 some odd episodes, so you had to put some garbage in there. I think that's why most shows now are 13 episodes a season. because that's really all that's needed to tell a great story.
It's hard to maintain that like excellent level of writing, acting, everything else.
You
with
did-
that
well-
much content.
We aired like when? What date did this air? Like, did this air the week before Sweeps started? Because there used to be a couple of shit episodes leading up to Sweeps, because they'd have to put out 4 good episodes during Sweeps.
November 14th, 1994.
Yep, November 14th.
So no.
Well, this also might have been right around Thanksgiving, and they might have been like, we're not competing with the NFL. It's sort of a bad episode or something like that,
It's like they knew they had like 26 episodes they needed to do this 3rd season. That's a certain number of them have to be Jadzia episodes, and
Right. But they might have made this episode toward the end. Do you know what I mean? And then we're like, oh, okay, we can just throw this on a week. We know it's a bad episode, so we'll throw it on a week where we know we're going to get no ratings anyway. And then it's just like a skipped week for us. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Like it doesn't. It's the one of the most forgettable episodes. Although at the time, this idea of like creating. Well, I was a teenager and whatever, and this idea of creating your own hollow fantasy was something that I acknowledge is creepy, but was sort of like it sparked the imagination.
Other futuristic like movies, like the movie Gamer, have kind of dealt with this, and like we or Black Mirror, like I mentioned before, has definitely dealt with this idea. Star Trek didn't do it overly well. They never really do the Quark seediness stuff well because they can't, because their show was on network TV and it wasn't. They couldn't do that. They could imply it, they could kind of show it, but not really. Never to the length that an HBO or what we have today could.
Even a CBS All Access.
Or CBS All
Or a
Access.
Paramount
I
Plus.
think on a show today, Quark wouldn't be a likable character.
No.
Well, he might be. Like, he might be a lot like a Game of Thrones character where, it might not be a good, you might not like that character, but there's, anti-heroes in some way.
He might be more entertaining, more complex, but he might be less likable. You may have less empathy for him. Because here he's still one of the good guys, even if he's roguish, right? And he's still good at his core, even though he has different values.
Right.
He's going to sell his friend's body against her will to
a hollow image
for money. He's not good in this episode.
No.
Yeah. Well,
no, he's kind of doing like
when they show him in the past too, when the Cardassians were there, he was not a good person.
Yeah.
Like
no.
Well, okay, and here's the thing. If it's okay to go in the holodeck and kill people, why isn't it okay to go in the holodeck and have sex with people?
Why isn't it good?
It's
because
wait.
People still have say over their bodies, whether it's a hollow image.
So if you had a hollow image of Kira and you just like chopped her head off,
if you chopped off Kira's head, is that better or worse?
This is the same thing as Quark coming across nudes of Kira and then selling them and putting them all over the internet without her consent.
That would be the real life equivalent.
He doesn't have her consent, and he's doing it anyway for money.
When you're on the holodeck killing people, you're killing people you don't know.
But what if you did? Would it be okay to kill people
you know? Fuck in the holodeck, you just can't fuck people you know. Real people.
Or you can't
Fine.
fuck them.
What are the rules, David? What are the rules?
Those are the only two rules of the holodeck.
What about historical people? They were real people. Like what? What if Janeway was getting it on with? Yeah.
When Barclay does it, he doesn't kill them. At least we don't see scenes. But I think that's what they would do now. Is like maybe him getting when Riker's giving him shit, and he just like kicks Riker's ass in the holodeck. And they said that this isn't actually illegal. But then I think it's Troy. Is it Troy who says it should be?
Troy.
Or
yeah,
is it Jordy?
Troy was pretty upset.
Right. So is that what the jury says, that it's and also so when Tuvok went into the holodeck and killed holographic Neelix because he was dealing with his issues, morally questionable.
And technically, that's part of his person. Justice for Tuvix. Hashtag.
Justice for
Tuvix.
Actually,
he was better. They admitted.
They always, every time in Star Trek, when the person that is being impersonated in the holodeck finds out, they're always like, "What the fuck, dude?" They're
True.
like, "No, this is not okay."
Right, when he says that, guys, in the episode that Ashley does not like, the mutiny episode in Voyager, nobody says like, "Hey, this is fucked up. Like, we shouldn't probably be doing this." Everyone's like, "Oh, let's have a little fun." Like, that's how everyone's acting with that. What it is kind of messed up because, like, they could potentially kill Janeway. They could potentially kill, whoever on the crew if they're on the mutiny side, or if they're on the pro Federation side. They could be killing Chakotay or any of the former Maquis.
But
It's kind of messed up that they allow it,
But
it does seem in that episode like there is consent among the crew.
But Voyager also does touch on the "what the fuck are you doing in the holodeck" in the episode where B'Elanna has where she's depressed. And she creates the program where she basically just kills all of the Maquis friends that die. Like, this is how she's dealing with it. And Chakotay is like, "What the fuck are you doing?" So there's
right. It's unhealthy.
What the fuck?
Voyager still has some issues with some stuff going on in the holodeck.
Well, yeah, it's kind of just interesting to speculate about, like, in this universe where holodecks exist, what is the morality around holodecks and the usage of them, and things like that. Because like, obviously you have training programs. Obviously there are issues where you are brought back. You are a creation of you could be created for a variety of purposes, in different circumstances, and sort of what would be and how you would even police it is also, I guess, the thing too. Is like, because all the different cultures would have different laws around it. It's unsettling, right? This idea of like someone could create a version of you and then like screw around with that version of you and you do all kinds of awful things. Then you gotta, they see you the next day on your duty shift. Because how does Quark sell this? He's like, people want to be in ops and they want to know what it's like during a Jem'Hadar attack, right? And would that be okay? To sell.
She consented to do that in the first place.
Yeah.
Right. He most likely he would get Bashir. Right. That would be the person who would volunteer to do it.
Putting them into a situation like that is a lot different than putting someone in there that is specifically designed for people to have sex with them and be naked. It's a different thing. Putting them where you go into ops, absolutely. But going into ops and like being in charge and dealing with something where everyone's fully clothed and doing their jobs is a lot different than.
Should there be like holodeck safety protocols for real life people,
likeness rights?
Just like how the holodeck can't hurt you, like maybe there's a safety protocol for anybody that's a real avatar. You just can't take off their clothes. You take off their clothes, they're Ken doll down there, man.
Yes. Yeah. It's just bumps.
There you go, Dave. You figured it out.
Right, but for an artificial person, a person that's just created by the computer, that's not based on anybody else,
or someone who consents to, like 24th century porn stars who consent to being sex objects in. That's fine. That's a holodeck program that exists because they have been paid for this and consent to it, and they are allowing that out into the world.
Obviously, it would have to be online only because otherwise, how are they going to monetize their appearance? Right? Are they going to do there's a whole lot of morality involved in terms of the likeness business. Dave.
And the recreation of people, right? Because I also think about, like, they go on the holodeck and they deal with historical figures, right?
Yeah.
Worf and Jadzia relive the battles, these Klingon battles and whatever, and they play out their role as these historical figures.
A statute of limitations, though, like there's your likeness after a certain period of time becomes a historical like testament, and therefore you can be placed into that. If there's certain
copyright.
Yeah, I mean, Janeway hangs out with Da Vinci through Voyager, so
eventually your likeness is public domain.
But should she be allowed to have sex with that holographic Da Vinci, Ashley? No, because he didn't give consent.
But she could if she wanted to, because it's a private holodeck.
Does she
weird reason?
Does she ask Quark?
Damn it!
Does she ask Quark, not Quark? Does she ask Q to go back in time to ask him? And then she's like, "Can you just sign this pad here? There you go.
We're in 1,000 years in the future."
Right. Especially when they find out he's still alive in the Methuselah syndrome or whatever it was in the original series.
That I will say the topic that the Quark Kira storyline deals with is far more interesting than what we're talking about in the majority
They don't really
of the
deal
episode.
with it,
Yeah,
though.
At least it's thought provoking. Yeah, the Meridian story. Oh.
And there's Star Trek has done this through all of the series where there's always several episodes where one of the characters falls in love with someone in the first 20 minutes, like within the first 24 hours of meeting them, and they're willing to give up everything or whatever and go off with these. None of them have been as creepy as this one. Like this one is just
So
he's not hot enough is our explanation.
All of those episodes are terrible. Romance in Star Trek is fine when it's the natural course of a romantic relationship and things progress over time. But these episodes where they try and cram this, I love them for the rest of my life in 42 minutes is ridiculous.
Yeah. Curzon and Jadzia have shown they're not like ready to settle down right now. Right?
No.
Jadzia
that's been the whole point of her character.
On her, like a lot of notches. And this cold fish of a dude is no way. Like Morn has more game than this dude.
Seriously, this dude I'd rather look at you. And I wanted her to turn around and like look at him and be like, no, we're doing serious shit here right now, man.
How is Bashir? How the hell is Bashir not like, what in the hell is this? You know, like I literally have saved your life.
The nose plays. This is like Ocean's 13. The nose plays.
Like, I wasn't intense enough.
Yeah.
Like, apparently I needed to peel your fruit for you. That would have worked.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
How far do those spots go down?
Oh, it's just
all the way.
So
can we go count our spots?
She should be going like this, all the way down to here.
Dave, do you have the look that O'Brien gives them after that line?
Yes.
The look O'Brien gives them.
I can look.
You
have that if you want.
All right, I might go 0.75 for O'Brien's look.
O'Brien's look is fantastic, and it explains everything you need to know about this episode.
I took a screen cap of it. Let's see if you guys could. No. Hold on. I'm gonna move it. There you go. Screen cap.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's like, what the hell is this? What the hell is this?
O'Brien is thinking about all the things he's gone through over the last few years, and he's like, this is the worst I've suffered.
Yeah, he's like this. He's like this.
Yeah, take me back to Cardassian jail. I can't deal with this anymore.
He's like, this is worse than the time I shouted at the sky to make sure the Bajorans didn't die.
It is worse. We thought it was worse.
I imagine that's not even O'Brien. I imagine that's Cole Meany just
being like,
why are we in this episode?
Like you see his reaction. Him and Cisco laugh when they know that they're obviously still staying down, making out. Then when she's leaving, the coldest handshake. She's like hand and then holds his arm. That's what she does. And he's not even like standing up to her. He's leaning on a console and just lets her walk by. Right. He does not care.
And then all right, first of all, when Dax and Goodwin here, they first get together, they're walking through the field, it's so wonderful, and then they come across a tree, and he's like, let's climb this tree. And she's like, oh, I'm afraid of heights. And then they climb the tree, and then like some sort of weird like earthquake happens, and she's like, oh, we should get down. And then it like fades, and then they walk to a bench, and then they sit on a bench, and then they make out. And I'm just like, what the hell is this?
She's such a Klingon warrior. I'm scared.
Right?
Yeah.
God, the fucking constant Jadzia's vulnerable shit. That is not. They start to write her better when she gets with
Worf.
With Worf.
Yes.
They start to make her who she.
Because Worf's energy is good off her like roguish energy, where she's like, I play Tongo and Quark doesn't let me win, right? And there's some good moments here with Jadzia tonight where we get the real Jadzia, not this mushy, pining over Goodwin Thomas Wayne.
Climbing trees and being afraid.
This Jadzia is not the Jadzia of Blood Oath. What happened to her?
I know that was last year, right?
Ron Z. Moore wrote that
Good trick
episode,
with food.
and some guy wrote this. I don't know.
Did anyone else eat the food? Because Cisco didn't eat the food, right? Did O'Brien eat the food?
He didn't trust. Oh no, Cisco didn't trust these people. He was like, "This is messed up." The
Cisco
whole
is
episode, Cisco.
Something in the food?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Cisco
the whole
is
episode-
a low key food snob, straight up. He's like,
Oh yeah,
he's like, yeah, I'm not eating that.
He's like, I wouldn't eat this off the floor in my kitchen in New Orleans. You know, that's what he was
He
thinking.
passed by the kitchen and he saw it. He's like, I'm not having none of this.
Yeah,
This is no souffle from Cisco's.
All the scenes with Cisco and Dax in this episode too is basically Cisco going like, "You sure?" You know, and she's like,
I do
I
want
want
to
you
talk
to
about that scene.
all I want you to just say is you're happy for me. He's like, but you're sure?
You know, murder to convince her not to go on that blood oath in that blood oath episode
he did.
than he did to have her leave his life forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, this idea that she was going to go kill the albino was worth like, okay, I'll say this for Avery Brooks in this scene he did with with Terry Farrell where they're saying goodbye and everything, and it's like I thought that they both really tried to bring it in this scene. I think both actors tried to do it the best they could, but it doesn't work. The scene does not work well. Because I just know they'll have better moments later on with Dax and Cisco and
no, this is just bad, man. It's just bad.
It's just but you don't think that the actors are trying? That they were?
I think they're all trying. I just don't think they can polish this turd.
Yeah,
yeah.
Just imagine, these are the best takes of this episode.
In what world is Terry Farrell going? Yeah. Where Dax is coming from makes sense. She met this guy, and within 20 days, she has to decide whether or not she wants to become a corporeal being or not, because she loves this guy because they climbed a tree, almost kissed, walked around a while, sat on a bench, kissed, and then now she's in love. And it's just like, okay, that doesn't make sense at all with her character. Everything they showed is what Jaemeel said, that she's obviously playing the field and she's dabbling around and she doesn't want to settle down yet. That's the whole point. That's why she's not jumping in bed with Bashir, because that's, in her mind what Bashir wants, right? Like that's kind of the whole metaphor for their relationship. And then all of a sudden, that's what I mean. How is Bashir not like, what in the hell is this? How do we not have a scene in this episode where Bashir says to O'Brien, man, I've been trying,
this guy just walked into her life.
Teach me, like he's Doctor Strange.
He fed her.
How did you do it?
Yeah.
How did you do it?
And she's ready to throw away her entire career. Doesn't she have 3 PhDs and everything else? And she said she's only taking a leave of absence from her career.
60 years.
But it's like, and what, for Brett Cullen? I don't get it. Right
off the bat, literally, you're just having breakfast together, first supper or first meal or whatever they call it, and it's just right off the bat, he's hitting on her, and it's just
this far away before he even talks to her, just staring.
Yes, he's super creepy.
They get fucking murdered.
Yeah.
The other thing too that stood out to me on this episode was that the Defiant's leaving the station for at least a couple weeks, right?
Yeah, because they want to go explore the Gamma Quadrant, because Cisco's we can't keep doing medical stops for Dax.
We can't just use the Defiant to take Dax to Trill so she can talk to some doctors.
Yeah. So we need to take Dax to a planet that doesn't exist so Dax can have a relationship
with Brett Cullen. Okay, but I don't the Defiant is not exactly an exploratory vessel, it's that this seems like a mission the Enterprise would go on, right? Not the Defiant. But I guess Cisco's you know what? I thought we were going to get to explore the Gamma Quadrant. I don't know why he's a gangster, but he is in my version. And he's like, "Well, come on, Starfleet Command, why don't you let me explore the Gamma Quadrant with the Defiant?"
This sounds like a petulant child, like a teenager. Yeah. Come on, Mom. I want to explore the Gamma Quadrant.
Yeah, he's calling up Admiral Nechayev, the one who loves the canopies, and he's like, "Come on, Admiral Nechayev, let me go to the Gamma Quadrant with the Defiant."
He found out what Quark was planning, and he was like, "I am not having any of that. I'm the fuck out."
Right.
Leave Odo to deal with that.
None of the Starfleet characters were still on the station, right? They were all gone. No. So it's just Kira and Quark and Odo of the main cast, except for Jake Sisko. I don't know where he's at. I guess he's on the station too.
Doesn't matter.
He's with his Dabble girlfriend.
He's with his Dabble girlfriend. He's staying. He's like, Dad, I'm staying with Marta for the next couple weeks.
If this was like on HBO, like Deep Space Nine was on HBO, every now and again they would just cut to Jake in the bed with the Dabble girl, like that would be like the scene they would have.
Jake's bare ass though. Yeah. That's the rule. Right? You would see his bare ass, his bony bare ass.
16 years old, man.
Yeah. He's got a 19-year-old girlfriend or 21-year-old girlfriend. Sorry.
If it was HBO, it'd be like she's thinking about selling her image to the Dabo thing to pay for her, retirement from the Dabo community.
That's right. Right. It'd be like isn't it kind of the same as like a 16-year-old dating a stripper? Is that kind of the same thing?
It would be like a 16-year-old boy dating an adult worker.
Like the Dabble girl is not like.
I'm not saying she's
a prostitute.
I'm not saying she is.
She's like a Hooter server.
Yeah, or a go-go dancer. Like she's not like.
Yeah. She doesn't take off her clothes.
No, but she does use her looks to extract money from the men at the table.
Yeah, so she's a Hooter server.
Yeah, she is.
Or like a bartender.
Shoeless
Joe's. Yeah.
Or like a casino, like a casino girl that's on the pole or whatever.
It would be the equivalent. If roulette came with a pretty girl,
different.
That's effectively what Dabo is. It's basically
sometimes
roulette.
When you walk in casinos in Vegas, there's girls like just dancing, but they don't take their clothes off. That's kind of what they are, I guess.
Like a go-go dancer.
Yeah. They're like a host for the game.
I've never heard the go-go dancer. I've heard of it. I never knew exactly what it was.
Everybody wants to be a go-go dancer. You never heard that song?
I don't. I don't want to be a go-go dancer, so I've never. No, I've heard of go-go dancing.
If it was the swinging '60s, baby, you'd want to do the go-go dancing.
Well, you learn something new every day. I guess this episode brought something good.
I got one more thing to say about this episode, though. This ending.
Oh! You mean when she's like, oh no. Oh yeah, WandaVision's happening, and then she's like, a vacuum, and she's like, oh, and then like Bashir's like, Chief, get her out of there, and like Chief's like, oh okay, and it just like gets her out of there immediately.
Bashir was standing up. Why couldn't he do it?
A lot of problem solving going on the Defiant.
Transporter expert,
right?
All I could think in this scene was, Jedzia, you're so dumb. Like what were you thinking? You thought you could just scramble your molecules in this transporter? This was your scientific method? Like, this was how you were going to enter this parallel dimension for 60 years? Like, it was a very half-baked plan. It was not very well thought through, unprofessional. I'm against it.
Yeah, it was very stupid. Yeah, I agree. The whole idea of this was ridiculous. Why couldn't Goodwin leave the planet? Was there a reason?
He didn't want to.
He didn't want to.
Well, then, I mean,
I don't know why it mattered, though. He could come back and
I got a question. If this planet is going to end up killing them all and they won't be able to live in either, why don't they all fucking leave? Why don't they all get on the Defiant and just leave?
Go to another planet.
Then they'll live and they'll be able to reproduce and build up a bigger.
I think it would have been more interesting had there been a dynamic in this episode where it's like Sisko is like saying to Dax, like, I know I'm ordering you to not leave. I do not accept your resignation or whatever. If they had like an argument I think that would have been better.
That would have been
better.
Somebody
goes,
needs to be more resistance somehow.
Or Trill goes, you can't take the symbiote away and make it a incorporeal being for 60 years, right? We don't know what its effect is going to have on the symbiote. So no, you're not going to, right? So
that'd be another angle. It's clear. It's clear, like the main writers of DS9 had almost no hands on this episode because it feels so much like a TNG one-off episode that sucks. That where Riker goes off to a planet, falls in love with some woman, and then at the end of it, he's like, what do I do? You know,
that's the way you're saying it.
That's kind of what it is to me. There's so many of them. You know what I'm talking about with the Riker episodes. You know, with all those episodes where he's fallen in love with women.
Yeah. Hilary J. Bader wrote the original story. I think we can maybe.
I would love to read that. I would love to read. I just hope that it's like very different, vastly different. And the teleplay, that's where it just got changed around, where it makes no sense.
No, but the story would still be here. Like I'm looking at her other stories, like The Loss, which is the 2-dimensional one where Troy couldn't use her powers. Hero Worship, which was the one where the kid was
she doesn't have powers.
Oh, that one is terrible.
Powers.
Dark Page, where she wrote a lot of Troy episodes. And she wrote and Rules of Acquisition, the story for that originally came from her. Now she was just Hilary Bader, no J. And then Eye of the Needle, the one with the Romulan guy from the past who came on to Voyager. These are not great episodes.
Oh, yeah.
No.
So Rules of Acquisition isn't even one of the better Ferengi episodes. That's probably the best one out of all those ones that you mentioned.
Yeah.
But it's probably the worst Ferengi.
It's not a great. It's not like I love going back to watch Rules of Acquisition. Like it's not a great. It's not a great.
Lessons learned, kids. You can be terrible at your job and be, asked back repeatedly to write more Star Trek tales. So.
As long as
season 2 is happening soon, so keep your wits about you.
They needed their filler episodes.
Jeff, you want to give us some double F?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if you have the one I have as well. I'm very interested to see if you hit it. Okay, new theme song.
Did he unplug his microphone?
I think he did. Double F with Jeff. Yeah.
Well, we just have dead air.
Sing it.
You might be.
I don't know how that song goes.
It's a double F with Jeff.
Double F with
it's
Jeff.
a double F with Jeff. Studying IMDb metaphysic puzzles, and all I've got is Star Trek in my head. Double F.
I think this is good, Jeff.
It's great. It is great. Absolutely. Okay, so as Jeff is kind of setting up his thing, I have one. Let's see if he has it as well. Okay. On November 14th, 1994, when this episode airs, Tom Villard passed away, and he played the role of Pilar Beck in the second season episode, The Collaborator.
Pilar Beck.
Pilar Beck. He passed away on this day. Did this episode kill him? No. Unfortunately, it wasn't. It was AIDS. Rest in peace.
I'm starting to laugh.
Why'd you laugh?
The way you phrased that, it was like, was it this episode that killed him? No, it was AIDS.
No, it was AIDS. Rest in peace.
It's just your delivery. I'm not happy he died of AIDS.
Sorry.
I think you are, Dave.
No, I'm not.
Sorry. I should have said it more seriously.
Pilar Beck. I just now I know that. I know that fact. So.
And that's all you'll think about anytime you watch that episode.
It will be. Only time I think of anybody with the title Prylor.
You're going to be laughing And they will be like, "What are you laughing at?" You'll be like, "He died of AIDS."
No, I'm not laughing at that. Exactly. It's just the unexpected delivery of the fact. Jeff doesn't usually deliver the double F like that.
I'm sorry.
It sounded very dirty.
Oh, we can't hear you, Jeff.
Yeah, you gotta work on that.
Oh, we can hear you. Talk.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we stalled enough
All right,
time.
we're on to the double F with Jeff. Okay, all right.
We've been on it for a few minutes.
Well, sometimes you
You guys have all that hot AIDS talk.
If you want, you can send me your double F with Jeff theme song, and I'll maybe I can actually put some music bed on it or something, and get it like produced. And I can just play it as a clip.
Okay, we'll have to figure that out. This episode is based on Brigadoon, a musical about a magical Scottish village that appears only once every 100 years. Co-executive producer Ira Stephen Bear, an admirer of Brigadoon, confessed to originating the idea about making an episode based on the musical. So this is Ira Stephen Bear's fault.
Okay, but why didn't he get the credit as the writer if it's his concept?
I think it was just his idea to do an episode about this, maybe.
He's like, no, man, you can keep my name off of that. Go ahead.
Yeah, he's like, I don't put my name.
Why does poor
it.
Hillary J. Bader have to have the shame of this episode on her resume? I don't understand.
I don't know. Maybe we'll find out
Shame
on Fun Facts with Jeff. Combs, who had originally auditioned for the role of William T. Riker on Star Trek: The Next Generation, was cast as Tyron by this episode's director, Jonathan Frakes, who actually got the part of Riker. I didn't know Jeffrey Combs was almost Riker.
I have heard that before. Like, can you imagine that version of history where Jeffrey Combs was Riker? I would have been like, I don't know how.
Character.
But Jeffrey Combs is Riker and Wesley Snipes is Geordi.
Was Wesley?
Wesley Snipes.
He was
nearly Geordi. I never knew that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Right.
How weird would that have been?
Yeah. Or no. Here's the
I don't think it would have made it 7 seasons.
Walter Matthau as Mr. Spock.
No.
Oh my
That
god.
would have been
awesome.
That nearly, and also Adam West as Mr. Spock was almost a thing too.
Adam West was almost James Bond.
Right.
Not even
And he
British.
turned it. They offered it to him. He turned it down because he said he thought it had to be a Brit.
That's crazy.
He should have pushed that more often. He should have talked about that. He would have been beloved by a nation.
Yeah.
Just imagine Shatner and Adam West conversing back and forth.
Yeah. Like, they would have been fun. It would have been a different dynamic if Adam West had been there instead of Leonard Nimoy.
I think they would have killed each other because they're both like, they both wanted the limelight, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't think that works. Anyway, Jeffrey Combs has the distinction of portraying 8 different characters on Star Trek. He has played the roles of Brunt, Wayoon, Shran, Tyron, Kevin McCulkey. Say that. Mulcahy? I don't know. Penk, Cram, and a holosuite guest. He is one of only 5 actors to play 7 or more different characters in the Star Trek franchise. The others being Randy Oglesby, J.G. Hertzler, Vaughn Armstrong, and Thomas Capocci. Coincidentally, Combs and Brian Johnson. Coincidentally, Combs has appeared on Star Trek with all 4 of those actors.
Oh, nice.
Well,
this episode was directed by Jonathan Frakes, who portrayed Riker. This episode, this is the first episode in which Cisco goes back into the Gamma Quadrant since the season opener, in which they located the Founders and effectively initiated a Cold War with the Dominion. So,
well, did they initiate the Cold War? Or did the Dominion initiate the Cold War?
For no reason to.
Yeah, I guess it's all what side you're on. The garden set of Meridian, where Jadzia and Doral, who's Goodwin, engage in a relationship, was filmed at the Huntington Library Botanical Gardens in Pasadena, California. The House of Doral is a reuse of the set used for the temple in the Next Generation episode Masks, and was built on Paramount Stage 18. The backdrop seen outside the house was actually a 270-degree backdrop borrowed from Walt Disney Studios, where it had originally been created to be used on Mary Poppins.
Reusing Mary Poppins stuff, man.
Okay.
So there you go. This has the reek of Mary Poppins all over it.
Ron Tomlinson
aerial-
will not do this.
Right. The aerial view of the settlement on Meridian was a reused shot of previously used in the Next Generation 6 episode Birthright Part 2. The shot was a composite of a Thai jungle picture taken by Dan Curry and a maquette of the Karaya 4 Romulan prison camp. For Meridian, the shot was slightly modified to match the full-scale set of Meridian. To dispel the notion of it being a walled prison, a large hall was added to the depiction of the model, matching the full-scale set. A small building was put outside the walls, with other walls and watchtowers either being removed or modified. Fascinating.
Fascinating.
No.
During the first meal, Doral Goodwin asked Jadziel how far down her markings go, to which she replies, all the way. It is seen in Star Trek DS9 Equilibrium that Jadziel's spots do go down to her feet, as they can be seen briefly in shots of her on the hospital bed on the Trill homeworld.
Also, Jeff. Oh, wait, the Millards. Where'd they go? When he hooks up with Ezra at the end, he's like, I found out how far down these spots really go, right? Like that's in like the final episode.
Is it supposed to imply that like the spots like go into her genitals or something?
No,
like
I
this,
just think
or-
they go. I think they just go down like the side of their body into their feet. I don't know. It's just
right,
like
right, but it's implying some sort of sexual reference, is it not?
It's implying that you would have to take a lot of clothes off to kind of see the full thing, I guess.
Right, like some sort of like it goes like around the genitals in some way.
Right, get the full experience. I don't know if it's necessary about genitals, Jeff. I don't think it's. I think it's more.
How is
about,
it not? It's what? It's just like you see with a bathing suit on, it goes just down the side. Right?
I think if you have less clothes on, maybe it will lead to something that involves genitals, but it's not specifically about genitals.
Oh yes.
Show me your genitals. Your genitals. Your genitalia.
Now, if everyone has genitals on their drinking card for tonight, you're gonna get sloshed.
Oh yeah. No, it's not that coming. No. Okay. During this episode marks the first appearance of the Defiance transporter room. Very exciting for Cole Meany.
He's like, another transporter room, just what I always wanted.
Actually, transporter room 3 was always my favorite, sir.
It's pretty good, O'Brien.
That's good. That's good.
Oh, really?
I love my wife.
I love my parents.
You loved your parents. Keiko is the most wonderful woman in the whole wide world. It is the most wonderful woman in the whole wide world day, and I'm celebrating.
Oh my god!
I've made you some sort of weird casserole dish. And why is Molly upset? Why don't you go to Bajor so I can go play with Julian on the holodeck?
Oh my gosh. Oh.
My parents forced me to play cello, and I loved it.
Welcome back, Kevin.
Welcome back. You missed all the genital talk. Genitals.
Yeah, we were talking about the quote where spots go all the way down, to wherever they say, basically all the way, which to me implies some sort of sexual genital.
I was saying it doesn't have to do with genitals.
So I think it does. I think it has to do with a sex reference.
Well, she says it in a kind of sexy way. I would think that's what it meant. She was like all coy about it.
Of this season? of this season.
It was our worst rated episode of the entire show.
But
and we've watched some stinkers.
AIDS was funnier than this episode.
But he didn't like our O'Brien. He says you guys do a terrible.
Well,
I love my wife.
I love my O'Brien.
Yeah. Keiko.
It's the most wonderful woman being married to the most wonderful woman in the world. Whatever the hell he says. Day. Meridian reveals in the teaser on the Defiance view screen is similar to when the planet Aldea appeared suddenly in front of the USS Enterprise D in When the Bow Breaks. Okay, I don't remember that episode. Some members of the Star Trek DS9 staff consider this episode to be the weakest of the season. No shit. Some members, maybe the ones that didn't write the episode, probably those guys, probably those people. Okay. Tyron, played by Jeffrey Combs, orders an Andorian ale in Quarks. He later appears in Enterprise as an Andorian Commander Shran.
We know.
Okay. Dave, there's a 47 reference.
These 47 references do not excite me. Or 74.
I always like to tell you though, because I know you care about the 47 reference.
I don't. I don't get it.
47 reference. O'Brien says that the next dimensional shift will occur in guess how many minutes? 47. Yeah, some sort of conspiracy. Because 4 and 7, I guess, in numerology divide to 11. So that is obviously why.
And what's the significance of 11?
I don't know. It's a master number or something.
It's the letter K.
Okay. Yeah, that too.
The same significance as being a Pisces.
Pisces power.
Right, exactly.
That's a lot of significance. Okay, now we got to think about this.
Numerology and astrology, pretty much cousins. Maybe sisters, maybe brothers. I don't know. Okay.
Those two things are what you get when cousins have sex.
So, okay, right. Mark O'Connell's original title for this episode was Prophet in the Wind. Well, it seems to me you lived your life like a prophet in the wind.
Better than your fun facts sign.
How dare you? How dare you?
Are you ready for some fun facts?
I'd rather hear the prophet in the wind with Goodwin.
Goodbye, Jadzia Dax. Though we never knew you at all.
I just had a thought. What do you think it was like for Brett Cullen's character Doral for the next 60 years being in a non-corporeal state? Because obviously Jadzia got over this and she ended up with Worf before, but I would imagine he would pine over her for the next 60 years just to come out of it and find out she's not only that she's dead, but she moved on pretty quickly after you disappeared.
Yes, half a season.
He probably finds someone else to steal away from her friends and family and career.
Probably, He seemed good at it. He seemed like he was good at it. So.
Yeah. Okay. What year?
30 years next time to get somebody.
So this is 2371. So 60 years would be like what 2431, I guess. So
yeah.
We haven't caught up to that year yet.
So that's what they should do: is set a Star Trek show around the 2430s. Okay. And we bring this guy Goodwin. We'll even get the same actor, get Brett Cullen. Nobody's better at playing.
We want you to reprise this role from the worst episode of Deep Space Nine ever.
Can you not do this?
Have him and Tilly hook up.
It's no.
Yeah,
it's not okay. Don't do that to Tilly.
Okay. This
Keiko
episode
is the K 11th letter.
K, which is the proof Keiko sucks. Yeah, well,
here she's also a Pisces.
Probably a Pisces.
Probably an Aries.
This episode is considered by a few to be a loose remake of Red Dwarf Hollow Ship. I never watched the show Red Dwarf. Jadzia Dax falls in love with Doral, and then an inhabitant of the Meridian planet, which Doral and the inhabitants of that world have no physical beings, and Dax decides to leave the Defiant to stay on Meridian. Arnold Rimmer falls in love with Commander Dervana Crane, member of the holoship, which all crew members are computer-generated holograms, and Rimmer decides to leave Red Dwarf to join the holoship crew. Terry Farrell, who plays Dax, played the second version of the cat in Red Dwarf. She was in a movie that was very similar to this.
She was in Red Dwarf?
Yeah, 1992. That's what it says. No, she played the second version of the cat in Red Dwarf. I don't know. Maybe they made it again.
Okay. I never see. I used to love Red Dwarf back in the day, like at least the early seasons.
Oh, maybe they made a more recent episode, and then that's why. Okay, so a script for this episode was sold at an online auction. I don't know why that
how
is.
much?
How much?
Doesn't say.
It should be no money. No money should be exchanged.
It should be
Person
like,
burned the script right after.
Someone bought it just to make sure nobody ever reads it ever again.
Yeah, no, it's no good.
Forever unclean.
Okay. All right. So now for the moment everybody wants to know. The hologram consisting of Kira Nerese's body and Quark's head was supposed to be Nana Visitor's body with Armin Shimmerman's head. In makeup inserted in post-production. Although Visitor was scheduled to appear in this shot, it would have required her to wear a foam rubber head, which would be replaced by Quark's head. However, Visitor was still reeling from the claustrophobia as a result of the Cardassian makeup she wore for the second skin episode. So when her makeup artist, Camille Cavette, attempted to place the rubber head on her, Visitor panicked. Thus, body double Leah Burrow filled in for her.
Okay.
I would have believed you if you would said that was Nana Visitors. Nana. I'm sorry. It was Nana
How
Visitors.
dare you, Dave? It's Nana.
It's Nana. I always want to say Nana, but it's
Right.
When they get body doubles, they get body doubles with the same measurements. They're body doubles, so it would look just like her.
Well, it was very convincing.
The body.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so although Jadzia never sees Doral again, it would work for the best that Jadzia marries Worf in You Are Cordially Invited, and they would be married until Jadzia's death. And Tears of the Prophet, which we already talked about. Goodwin probably comes out and he goes, "Hey, where's Jadzia?" And she's dead, and now she's Ezri, and now she's with Bashir. So I guess it all worked out for Bashir. I guess that's the point of this episode.
No, this is the worst Deep Space Nine episode.
Which one? I'm trying to remember which one is Let He Use Without Sin. That's the episode. Oh, that's the one where they go to Ryza. That's one of my favorite episodes, Jody.
This is the worst one.
This is worse.
This one's bad. This one's really bad. I mean, I don't know. Maybe we'll fall upon another episode that's just as bad. But this is, I don't like the Dax character most of the time, and this episode
made her much less likable and much less relatable.
And contradictory. Like, it's not who she should be. Like you guys have said, like she should be a badass and kind of sure of herself, and she doesn't. Nobody believes her. Like in these scenes, to me, like with Cisco, it's like, oh, I really want to do this. Like it's not believable. And we're just supposed to be like, yeah, this is what she wants. It's like, no way, come on, that's not a full arc, like you have to explain it just to go through some sort of emotions or some sort of thinking or so a conversation with somebody other than Goodwin.
Yeah. Like he should have started all of this and been like, stay with me, and she should have been like, fuck you, part of me is 300 years old, get fucked.
Right. Yeah, like that would have been better. How
old was he though? He might have been really old too, right?
It's
he
possible,
doesn't age
but
when he's in that.
Yeah.
So he doesn't seem wise.
Yeah, he doesn't seem as wise.
Yeah, they don't seem smart at all. It's like, so what do they do for 60 years? Like when they're just like corporeal beings, what do they do?
They play chess in their minds. I don't know. It didn't sound fun. I wouldn't want to go.
No.
Live like that for 6. They didn't sell it very well. Like they're like, she's like, what's it gonna be like? He's like, I can't even explain it to you. I'm like, is that because it sucks? Like,
Yes.
Yeah,
you
you have to wait and
know,
see. Like, he can't even be like, it's the greatest thing. He's like, just come with us and you'll find out.
yeah, it's so good. You're gonna be like, how did I ever
Let me
turn this
put
down?
this bag over your head, and you'll find out how good it'll be. Like,
Right.
just come into my white van with me, and I'll show you the
My white
greatest
Dharma
I've
van.
ever.
Climb this tree high enough so that if I push you, you'll break your neck.
You like this fruit? There's more where that came.
Yeah.
Oh, she just fell. I don't know what happened. You know.
I find it more believable that she fell in love and was going to run off with this guy for 60 years and become non-corporeal than I believe that she's afraid of climbing trees.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Her being afraid of trees was the most believable thing about the episode.
No, it was
You know?
No, it was Elise. Catch me where he helps her down. I'm like, what is
Oh my
this?
God.
What is
Yeah, like,
this?
What is this?
Yeah.
I mean, that I was trying to say it was so bad. That's
Yeah.
It was that there's nothing believable.
Is that it? Did you get any more facts, Jeff?
That's it for the double F with Jeff, Dave,
Okay.
and you know, there'll be more
All
of that music for you later.
Did you skip over my point or it never came up?
What was your point?
I don't know if you heard about the Pilar. Was it Pilar Vec who passed away on November 14th, same day as this episode aired?
No, I didn't. Who died?
He was in the episode The Collaborator. Pilar Vec. It was in season 2.
Dave's giggling.
It's
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
funny.
there you go.
It's because Dave thinks
He did not, but Jeff, he did not pass away due to the episode being terrible. He died of AIDS.
It didn't help.
Oh, is that the fun fact I read that the guy died of AIDS?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Jaemeel read it to me earlier. He said it so like deadpan. I was like, I started laughing.
Yeah.
There's been multiple actors. There was multiple actors in the fun facts I remember from season 2, and there was another one in season 1 where, yeah, like the guy was on Star Trek, and then like 4 months later, the guy died of AIDS.
Well, that was like the guy who played
Thing in the 90s.
Kirk's son, right? Didn't he?
Kirk's son. Yeah, Merritt.
Yeah.
But I never laugh when I think about him dying. So,
Because the Klingons killed him.
right, I guess.
Don't believe him. Don't trust
Don't
him.
trust them. Let them die.
Never will.
Let them die. That's my favorite Kirk performance.
Did you say this? Don't wait for the translation.
Yeah, Jeff. If we're all wrapped, because we already rated this episode, does anyone want to change their rating now that we've talked about it all?
No,
No.
you know what?
No,
Actually,
good.
3.5. Lower mine.
You're lowering it.
Yeah, 3.5. Lower.
3.5. You're going down to that low. I'm giving it a 4.9 because I don't think it's that bad.
I don't know, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. When
Um,
I like Jeffrey Combs, and then even then his storyline was pretty terrible.
I brought it down
Just
to a
complete
2.2, just so you know. Okay, so and that's only because I'm giving it a 4.9, bringing it up to something halfway there. Okay, I got a couple other things about Star Trek we got to talk about while we're here, because this is like, what else we're going to talk about? There was a bunch of stuff that came out for First Contact Day yesterday, Jeff. Did anyone else see this image of the new animated Captain Janeway in Star Trek Prodigy?
Where's their cup
No.
of coffee?
Yeah.
Where are
did-
the-
Where are the
other one
where are the
was-
Where are the
pips?
pips? Where
Yeah, I
are the
loved
4
it.
pips?
And why is it
Well-
early Janeway, not later Janeway?
Yes, I'm
Because-
confused by this.
Because she is a hologram.
You think this is a holographic Janeway?
Yeah, that's what she is. She's a training hologram in the Delta Quadrant
How do you know?
because they announced it.
Damn. Okay.
She was paying attention.
All right. Maybe even in a bigger thing. Look what else came out yesterday. New uniforms for Star Trek
Oh.
Discovery.
Gross.
I like
I
them.
like these.
I like
I like
them.
What do you mean you like them?
I
do.
like the gray ones. At
This
the
is
end
like
of
this
season
is like the
3.
same design as the
I'm
gray
wanting
one, but
a lot more
it's
color.
they've flipped around the colors and they've changed gray to
I
black.
like the shoulder pads.
I like
I think this needs a belt.
What? Why is the bridge, you know, a Microsoft store?
Okay.
You know, like, what is
that
going on?
Is that who's in
It's
the
okay.
background? Is that Saru?
Don't
In
worry
the-
about the bridge, Jeff. It's gonna get destroyed.
Is that Saru in the background?
I think so.
Is he back on the ship then? Is he back as her first officer?
It looks like
Yeah.
it, but it
Who
actually looks like he might have a higher
He has
rank.
he has an additional
Yeah.
thing. Yeah,
Or he might maybe he's wearing something. Yeah, maybe he's like a Commodore now or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's another big thing that came out. And the other thing too that was announced yesterday, I don't have a picture for it, but John Delancey is going to be back as Q in Star Trek Picard season 2.
Yes.
Yay!
I hope.
Jeff, I just hit you with 3 big bombshells of Star Trek news here in 2021.
And they've already announced that they've been renewed for season 3 of Lord X.
Lord X already got season 3. We haven't watched season 2 yet.
Lord X is probably the only one I will probably definitely watch. You know, like the other ones, like I don't know.
You're gonna hate watch.
I'll probably watch. I probably will hate watch Picard. I just don't have any interest in watching Star Trek Discovery. I don't know why. I don't want to put it on. I don't want to watch it. You know, like
I'm super excited for season 4.
Yeah,
I'm in for season 4. I feel like
the trailer. I'm like pumped. Like I can't wait for it.
I'm ready to see. I'm ready for this crew and these characters to like grow and become more of a part of Star Trek. So I'm in for Discovery. This Janeway in Star Trek Discovery or Prodigy. I'm sorry, it's Star Trek Prodigy. I'm gonna give it a shot. I don't think it's made for me. You know, it's made for like a younger audience.
Kids, but I'm still gonna watch it.
I probably
if it can bring a new generation into Star Trek, if that's its purpose, then okay, great. And then in terms of this Picard thing, I'm hesitant.
I am very hesitant. I will also hate watch Picard.
Because I got let down in that season 1 was a big letdown, I think, for all of us in different ways.
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna give them another shot, but I'm watching it for Q and Guinan.
Yeah, I would love if they gave us some Q Guinan backstory.
Yeah.
What's that, Kevin?
Season 1 of Picard was like watching 10 of this episode.
No, the first episode was good.
Sorry, it was like watching 9 of this episode.
I have to ask: is Girardi back? Do we get more Girardi?
If only we could have some more Dr. Girardi.
She's not even my least favorite. I hate the other one.
Raffi.
I can't.
I like Raffi better. At least Raffi's useful.
Girardi crazy.
Ratty.
Every time she calls him JL, I want to punch her in the face for no reason.
In your fancy chateau.
I don't know why they just can't make Star Trek sort of feel like kind of like Star Wars does, where it kind of feels like it used to. Like they always want to keep modernizing it
because Star Wars has a lot of practice of just redoing the same thing.
Well, that's what the Orville is too, right?
Sure, but there's something to be said about nostalgia, right? A nostalgic feel, right?
Yeah,
but you don't complain about The Force Awakens because it's just a remake. It's the same.
Oh, I don't care. I'm not talking about the story. Okay. Yes, I agree. I'm more talking about like the way like the set, like the way the ships look and like the way the interior sets look and stuff like that. Like to me, like I feel like I'm watching Firefly or I'm watching Stargate, or I don't feel like it's got the Elcar stuff and the cool Star Trek stuff. Yes, they always get reinvented. I get it. People said that about Next Gen when about the original series is not the same and all that kind of stuff. I get that, but I feel like we're getting into this level of sameness with Star Trek where it all looks like the same to me. Like it all looks like modern Apple Store bridges and stuff. And
on like the Discovery Bridge, they don't seem like a cohesive team while they're on the bridge because they're very far apart from each other, and everybody is always talking from behind some kind of a display,
right?
Like it's always up in front of their face. That's great. That's maybe the way it would be in the future, but it doesn't make for a good TV show in the here and now.
But they have to be spread apart from each other on the bridge now because now our TVs are rectangle instead of square.
They can still have them closer. Like
no, because
the only person that gets close is Tilly and another person.
The entire TV.
Tilly and another person are the only people that it'll be Tilly and Saru or Tilly and Burnham. They're the only times where you see two people in the same frame at like a station. right? And it's actually facing. Everyone else is like, you stay where you are. Do not move. We're going to talk and we're going to shout from here, from the captain's chair to you. Don't move. Nope. You can just point.
Maybe Corona is still around and they have to socially distance. We don't know.
That's actually a fact. That could actually be a case.
But don't these new uniforms look like modern takes on like even the next gen uniforms? Like they
I really like them.
I am surprised that like the captain here, like Michael Burnham, has such long hair, like it's not tied up. Like, because I only say that because
not regulation.
Yeah, it's like it's not military. It doesn't look military. And Star Trek to me has always kind of had like this militaristic look with the women and with men and
Helm and Ops there both have long hair too.
Yeah, like
they removed all the conveyors and all the pinch points, so they don't have to worry about them being pulled, right? Even the turbo lift has like a safeguard, or her hair has a pull away, so if you pull on it, it'll just come right off. No pulling hair.
Yeah, it's extension.
I mean, it's not her real hair anyway, so it's probably just a wig that comes right off.
She paid for it.
No, yeah. I'm just surprised because Star Trek has always like been so much about their, especially the captains, like looking like, very like prim and proper militaristic. They're not.
I always thought it was weird that they always had to have their hair tied back or up, right? And Ro Laren wasn't able to wear her Bajoran earring, but Worf was allowed to wear his big, huge Klingon sash. So like there was some inconsistencies in what was allowed.
When Janeway cut her hair, she could wear it down.
Yeah, and B'Elanna Torres didn't. She had to wear like a hairband, right?
It had to be like this long at best. Like that, it had to be here.
Yeah, it's like if it touched the shoulders, it had to be up.
Yeah, right. Yes, and
except for Troy. Troy had her hair down all the time. It was
but
never.
Troy got to do it. Troy didn't have to wear the uniform. Yeah, Troy got to do whatever she wanted.
She wore the uniform at the beginning in season 1. And then got a different outfit and then went back to the uniform. But when she went back to uniform, she still got to wear her hair crazy and curly and big.
But
so
like look at 7 of 9, right? 7 of 9 never walked around with her hair down, like it was always up.
Still very droney. Like she was very prim and proper all the time.
But she had really long hair. Right?
Her hair down was when she was having weird personality crisis.
Or they're like, she's human. Look, she's in Human Matrix 01. Her hair's down.
Yeah, with the braid, like she'd have the braid.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's exciting news, guys. I just wanted to bring that up.
Did you all enjoy your first contact day?
Crusher had long hair and wore it down, so it just depends, I guess.
I get maybe like I always felt like Crusher was like always like she was designed to look like your family doctor, like
while maintaining like being able to do surgical
have their hair back. It's the fucking doctor.
No, you would think so.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
And Neelix should have a hairnet on.
Oh well, Neelix is
he's body hairnet.
Cooking food. He should have the beard net and the hairnet on.
Bring back Tuvix. He was a better cook. Justice for Tuvix.
Yikes.
Tuvix. Janeway admitted it. Tuvix was a better cook. I mean, what was Neelix bringing to the table? I mean, really.
Okay, I gotta push it to end the show here, but check us out on Wednesdays. Original series rewatches with our dad. Tomorrow we're going to be watching. What are we watching tomorrow, Jeff?
I don't know. What are we? I don't know.
I don't remember. If you don't know, I know. It's Operation Annihilate.
Operation Annihilate, yes.
It's Operation Annihilate tomorrow, where Spock, Kirk's brother, is going to die. Check that out.
Right.
And then on the weekend, we're going to be in Star Trek Radio Theater. We're going to be doing our next installment. Our man Bashir. The poster's almost done. Where Jaemeel, you don't know this yet, but you're going to be playing Dr. Julian Bashir. So get ready for that. And Jeff will be your Garrick.
What a laugh.
What a laugh.
What a laugh. So
I'm still working on my Bashir.
All right, get your Bashir in full form as will be coming this weekend as we're doing D9 because we got to wait for Chris Seymour in the following week so we can do next gen. Yeah, so we can be the Packlets. And then our other channel, Super Mater Brothers Podcasting, Jaemeel and I covering Big Brother Canada 9 3 times a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. We're in week 6, Jeff. It's exciting. And then our other channel, Trivial Debate, which is our monthly argument, movies, TV, sports, and more. What we got so much great content in our network of podcasts. We're always on. All right, Jeff, over to you.
Okay. Is that okay? So I'm going to go out a little different this week. I'm going to go out with a quote from a review that I found of this episode. It's a 1 out of 10 review, and it's by Coast City Outlaws.
Coast City, where Green Lantern's from.
It states, quote, hands down, comma, the worst DS9 episode ever, comma, and possibly one of the worst Trek episodes ever.
Mm-hmm.
End quote.
Agreed.
21 April 2020. That was recent. Somebody watched this episode recently and was so pissed off.
I'm on the same page as this person. 1 out of 10.
So for all of us at Live Longer Podcasts, we stand with Coast City Outlaws.